Outnumbered over time. Ouchie, beep, beep. So Congressman Peter King wants to know how we do overtime.
This is Harris's favorite part.
Oh, no, I love it all. But, you know, this is the part if you want to slip off your shoes.
Okay, there you go.
Want to, you know.
That'd be a first.
What are we going through airport security? You got to take your laptop out, too.
All right, so on the live chat, it is cooking with thousands of you, so I'm glad you guys got on early. Ryan Jade Condi writes, hey, ladies, love all of you. This is for Mr. Peter King, however. I just want to clarify. Everything that happened in Florida and Colorado this past Saturday concerning the delegate crud is legal and fair?
It's probably illegal because that's what the rules are. Whether it's fair or not, it depends on how you interpret it. But I mean, again, I'm not aware of exactly what happened in Colorado. I mean, Manafort says that they have some instances where the rules were violated, but you don't have to abide by any democratic procedures. You go by the rules, and this has been forever, really, when it comes to conventions and when it comes to nominations. And that's where Cruz, who was smart enough to anticipate this. Yeah. He may be fast, he may be loose, but it's probably within the rules. I'm not saying that makes it right, but it's probably within the rules.
You know, Kennedy, when you look at Ted Cruz and you look at his history, Princeton, Harvard, he clearly did more than just pass American government. I'm going to guess he did some guest teaching, because this really gets into the weeds, the way he's picking up these delegates in these states. I mean, these states are caucusing and holding state conventions, and he's scooping them up with like a front load.
Yeah, no, this is a Harvard Law School grad who he clerked for the district court as well as for Chief Justice Rehnquist. Right. You know, he's obviously someone who knows how to do some meticulous reading, but that's something, and we've talked about it, he figured that out from the beginning. Yeah. You know, he's someone who has strategized and analyzed, and he's also someone, and this is something that the Trump campaign has contrasted with Cruz and Clinton's campaigns, is they've invested a lot of money in psychologically researching potential voters, and I'm sure they're doing the exact same thing with delegates who right now are a much more important part of the process, because they're like many voters concentrated into a single person who can, as you know, in many instances in several states, make up their own minds.
And we're seeing this, Andrea, on both sides of the political aisle. Because you heard Donald Trump say this weekend, look, it's happening for Bernie Sanders, too. 8 out of 9 states. I mean, he walks away with victories, but he still has so far fewer delegates than Hillary Clinton. And then there are those super delegates that wear the red capes and fly around like Superman.
God bless Bernie. He's going through this process knowing he's never going to get it because it will be denied to him because of the way that the Democratic Party structures their election. I mean,
someone promised him a bowl of oatmeal at the convention in Philadelphia.
Maybe some Ben & Jerry's. I don't know. Congressman, you said something so important during the show when we were talking about Iran, that members of Congress, they don't seem to think that foreign policy and homeland security, I know for you it's a big deal. Not only are you on the committee, you used to chair the committee, but what are we going to do in states like New York? I mean, I mentioned Chuck Schumer. He feels that the administration's been retaliatory towards him for objecting the Iran deal. It should be pointed out that Senator Menendez of New Jersey also was one who spoke up against getting rid of that ballistic missile provision. Then he found himself investigated. There seems to be this retaliatory approach by the administration. What do you tell your voters and what do you tell your constituents when they say, what about all that Homeland Security funding?
I just basically say we have to get it, and there's no way it can be defended. What the president did and what the Department of Homeland Security did was, and by the way, it was not Jay Johnson, the Secretary of Homeland Security. This is really the Office of Management and Budget, which works with the White House, that made these cuts. The Secretary would be more than happy if we put the money back in.
Yeah.
This was a White House decision.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to get it across to voters without sounding like you're totally paranoid and conspiratorial. But really, Josh Earnest really tipped it when he said that he took the shot at Schumer, and that's you can do that with a bridge or a highway. That's part of the pork barrel part of politics.
Not if you're Christie.
But not when it comes to life and death, and not when it comes to stopping another 9/11 attack or a dirty bomb attack in New York.
Seems like with you and with Senator Chuck Schumer, it's not a partisan issue. It's clearly, I mean, this is a member of his own party, a friend of the White House speaking out. It's disgraceful that they have not restored that funding.
Yeah, I mean, Chuck saying it is a lot more believable than me, because they would say, I'm Republican, I'm going to take a shot. No, and Chuck has been very supportive of the administration. He breaks with them on one issue, the Iran agreement.
Oh, boy, did they go after him.
And they took that as a personal offense. This is a very sensitive administration. I wouldn't say a guy like Joe Biden understands that. Obama doesn't. It's all very personal with him.
Interesting.
We don't always have to talk about golf in respect to President Obama going after a terrorist attack. Congressman King, I'm saying this almost in jest. But the Masters, are you a golfer?
No, I'm not. And I was actually my grandson's Little League game, and the guy next to me wants to bet. And he was, my God, how can you have a quadruple bogey, whatever it was?
Yeah.
It was nuts. Did you see the epic meltdown by Jordan
yeah,
Spieth? Did you witness this?
Yeah, I was. It's funny because in the first round of the Masters, Ernie Els completely melted down.
First hole.
It was the first hole. He had like 6 3-foot putts. It was insane. And so I thought that was going to be the big story out of the Masters. Right. There's no one happier today than Ernie Els because no one is going to talk about him at all in regards to the 2016 Masters. Like his performance is completely forgotten.
Poor guy.
He has probably sent Jordan Spieth the biggest Hickory Farm sausage basket that has ever been given to.
I didn't even think about it like
We
that.
had 3 holes in 1 during this tournament too, which is amazing. We're not talking about that either. We're talking about the meltdown of poor Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Poor guy.
what 6 strokes in 3 holes.
All right, so I don't watch a lot of golf, but
No, somebody asked about it on the chat, and I was like, okay, I'll ask about it.
will anybody be able to say Willett's name like 2 weeks from now? Like, I think
I think he's a compelling story. I mean,
so?
he's a young golfer. I mean, he's not American. He's British. But, I mean, that was a really neat story. Like, he was the last guy to sign up for the Masters.
Yeah, he was number 89 because his wife had a baby.
Just had a baby.
2 weeks before.
And she was due on the day of the final
But it took
round
us
of the
5
Masters.
minutes of the conversation before we got to his name.
Right.
We're talking about
Exactly.
sports.
Good thing it wasn't
I mean, sports can be very cruel. Ralph Frank was a good friend of mine. He's the guy that threw the home run pitch
Yeah.
back in 1951. Every morning he wakes up, that's what he thinks about.
Wow.
That's when he goes. You mentioned it right away. You said, yeah. I mean,
wow.
Wow.
that's it. I mean, he doesn't tell me that, but I know because whenever I talk to him, he
Imagine
talks
having
about
a
it.
moment in your life like that. You think about it every
Oh,
morning.
Bill Buckner.
Gosh, it's like Groundhog Day.
Bill Buckner was a great first baseman, a
Yeah,
great
exactly.
ball player.
But
he's known for
blew
one
that.
area. Yeah.
Exactly.
I heard Bill Hemmer talking about this morning on America's Newsroom, and he was like Jordan Spieth. That can't be the moment he thinks of every morning when he wakes up. But he's a young golfer. He won last year,
and
by
came
the
in
way.
second the year before.
I'm reading
He's
that he may
had
never
2
win
seconds
it
and a
again.
first in 3 years. I mean,
Thank you.
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some that
He's a
are saying,
superstar.
sports analysts are saying he may never win it again because he's going to have the yips every time he goes to the Masters. Anyway, back
So
to
you
the
don't
chat.
have to golf to be a politician then?
No. Well, Greg Norman. I mean, he's been 30 years and 20 years and still talking about it. Yeah.
Stu P. on the live chat writes, President Obama says Hillary Clinton is careless. Bernie Sanders says she has poor judgment. Finally, Democrats I can agree with. Matt Rock 224 says, Mr. King, will you accept a VP nomination?
that one.
Prairie Dog 223 says, for Representative King, Harris, do you believe the removal of DoD families from Turkey is an indicator of the expansion of the Islamic State, or is it due to the radicalization of the Turkish population?
Choose whichever one you want.
Yeah, I would say it shows the influence or the impact of ISIS within Turkey. And also, I mean, Erdogan is a terrible leader, but also it's much more dangerous in Turkey than it ever was.
Can I ask you a question in that vein? Well, thanks for coming, Congressman. Now, Israel, the foreign minister said the United States has to look at their allies who are arming ISIS. Who are they talking about? Are they talking about Israel?
About Israel?
I'm wondering, that Iran's foreign minister said that the United States should not be focusing on the Iran deal. They should be focusing on their allies who are arming ISIS. Who are they talking about?
No, Israel's not. If anyone, it could be the Saudis. It could be some of those small Arab states who where money and weapons disappear. But I don't know who they would. I don't want to say anything public.
Yeah, gotcha.
No, we understand. And you know what? We love that about you, too. Because, I mean, we've had these discussions of how much information do we really need as an American public to be out there.
Right.
There's so much out there now.
And you're talking about a section of the world where there's not many people you can trust. There's a lot of double and triple dealers in that part of the world. You can trust the Israelis. You can trust the Jordanians. You can pretty much trust the Egyptians, and that's about it, I think.
All right. I'm in trouble. Nancy Todd says, Harris, Danny Willett went to Jacksonville State University in Alabama, so we will remember him.
They're all worked up about this.
All right. So great to have you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good to have you,
We'll
Congressman.
see you back on the TV version of us tomorrow at noon Eastern.